Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Can you give me the bag? Sankirtan bag. So on behalf of His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, would like to welcome you to this most wonderful Nishinga Chaturdasi festival. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Today, as has been going on for millennia, the appearance day of the Lord becomes celebrated. It's nothing strange because we also celebrate our birthdays. Yes, it would be a problem if you forgot. Actually, some relationships have ended because of this. How dare you forget my birthday? So appearance days, birthdays. Of course, the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not like our appearance. It is divine. It's transcendental. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it's explained why the Lord appears. So today we will discuss about that appearance of the Lord. We'll discuss why do we worship Lord Narasimhadeva. And we will see the glory of Prahlad Maharaj, because like a ring, its beauty is in the piece on top. If I just get your engagement ring and it's just plain. Although gold is nice. Yeah? Hiranyakashipu. He also liked gold. But when the ring has a diamond set on it, then it's even more beautiful. So Prahlad Maharaj is like that diamond set on the ring of Lord Narasimhadeva. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaite girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. It is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dhamma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, informing us why he comes to this earth planet. His main business is paritranaya sadhunam. He is interested in the sadhus, the devotees. Sadhus and sadhvis also in the making. He comes to perform his pastimes so that he can attract the minds and hearts of the devotees. And incidentally, while trying to attract his devotees, he has to deal with rogue elements, the miscreants, the demoniac, those who are in the way of Dharma. Because Dharma samstapanataya, he establishes Dharma. Dharma is that which protects. We need protection from the rogues and the robbers when we get off the path of devotional service. There are so many highway robbers there. Famous, lust, greed. Heard of that guy? Envy, illusion, madness. They are waiting, always ready to rob Jiva of his wealth of devotional service. So the Lord establishes the religious codes, Dharma, to keep us on the straight and narrow. And for this, the Lord comes millennium after millennium. Now, it is said in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Mutisu Kalani Amena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Brahma is giving testimony in that brilliant of books. Only one chapter was rescued by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, South India. He personally copied it with his own hand. There was no scan before. So the Lord had to write it down and bring it back to Bengal. In there, Lord Brahma is testifying why he worships Govinda. And Govinda is Krishna. That Govinda, he appears, Nana Avataram, he comes in many other avatars. There it said Ram, Nishinga, Varaha, etc. So, Lord Nishingadev, he is a Kalpa avatar. He comes Kalpa after Kalpa. We are not actually interested in Lord Nishingadev's protection as the main reason of worship. The Gaudiyas are not interested in just the protection of our material facilities, our material bodies, our material health. Because how many times do we find that demons are troubling our bodies, attacking us? You can confess it's a safe place. Anyone? Yeah, you've been attacked by some demons? Were you awake or were you asleep? Sleeping, huh? Sneaky demons. Coming at you when you're sleeping, huh? Unfair. Who's been attacked by a live demon, broad daylight? Raise your hands. Everyone is doing well here, okay? So the demoniac are not necessarily those with horns and long tongues. Krishna says, in the heart of man is both the divine and the demoniac. And especially in Kali Yuga, the demoniac is a little more stronger. So as they say in the language of the Matrix. Don't go and watch it. If you haven't, so, you missed. Turn of the Millennium, this film came out, and in there, they're discussing how humanity is plugged into the matrix. The matrix of illusion would mean we are all plugged into the three modes of material nature. And therefore, we are just like puppets on the string of the material energy. And there it said, anyone who's still plugged into the matrix is potentially an agent. An agent of who, you ask? An agent of Maya. An agent of Kali. So they could be called friend, bestie. They could be hubby. They could be your neighbor, could be your boss at work. We ourselves also are many times agents of Maya. So these attacks are going on. I give a typical example. All the devotees tend to have this bead bag. Some carry it when they come to the temple. It's part of the outfit. Some pick it up in the early hours of the day, and they actually put their hand in there and chant. And then there's also that when we are chanting, sometimes other devotees act like what we call japa terrorists. You may have not finished some chanting and you come safe space, right? The temple. And you're trying to chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhuji, Mataji, how's the going? You heard this, you heard that. So terrorizing you from chanting the holy name. So in this way, being pushed into the demoniac zone of life where we are against the progress of devotional service. So we're just showing how far we can stretch the meaning of demoniac. It's not just what we think we see in the movies, those are demons. We can also be. But ultimately, there is a bigger demon within us, which Krishna warns that if we don't get into control, then they act as our enemy. Who can say who that demon is? The mind. Yes. So the mind is much more active than maybe the people around us, because the mind is already acting as though it is us. So the enemies of the mind, lust, greed, envy, illusion, these are more troublesome for the devotee, and the Lord is actually protecting us from these enemies. His sharp nails are not necessarily to fight off other people, but to rip away our demoniac mentality and to rip away those elements of lust, greed, and envy that take us away from the path. So as Gaudiyas, we are interested in Madhurya, not Ashwarya. We are interested in sweetness. Yes? Sweetness. We want to taste the sweetest that is available. And therefore, our acharyas are saying that if we worship, because there's two aspects of Lord Narasimhadeva. There's Lord Narasimhadeva, who is Ugra. We just chanted, Ugram Vira Mahavishnu Jwalantam Savato Mukam Nishingam Bishanam Badram Mrityu Mrityu Namamyaham. Angry Nishinga. And we'll get into why Narasimhadeva is angry. Then there's also Anugrah Nrsimha, where he's peaceful. There you see, he's got Prahlad Maharaj on his lap and Lakshmi Devi folding hands, offering prayers. When we worship that peaceful Nrsimha, then we may just go to Vaikuntha. Yes, ye yatamam prapajyante tam satayva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So it is important for the devotee to know the goal of our activities. We just performed the yagya outside. If we were to take pieces of paper and give each one of the devotees here and say, you write down, what was the aim of that yagya? I promise that we will not have the same aims. We are individuals after all. We have our different desires. And it is said of the desires of the conditioned souls, they are generally in the line of material, safety, and gain. South Africa is not an easy country. So we wouldn't blame you if you had in your prayer list, let us not get hijacked this year. Let no one break into the house. But this is not the goal of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. The goal of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is to approach Radha and Krishna of Goloka Vrindavan. And therefore, it is said the worship of Lord Narasimhadeva becomes favorable for approaching Radha and Krishna. Why? Because Lord Narasimhadeva, he will remove the obstacles in the heart. The progress of a devotee starts with some initial faith. Let me see what's going on with the Hare Krishnas. Some of you may have come today, you heard that there's a yagya. Well, that sounds really good. Huh? Not any yaga, Maha Yagya. You may have expected a bigger flame than, I mean, the flame was trying, but if you've seen the flames in Mayapur, then you understand Maha Yagya. So, some faith, let me go see. By that faith, we enter the association of the devotees. This is called Sadhu Sangha. In that association, it is not just to see how well dressed everyone is, which you are, Hare Krishna. But it is to hear from the devotees. And from the devotees, we become engaged in service. This is called Bhajana Kriya. Someone gives you some service. And there, in that association, one may become also initiated by a sadhu and begin the path of Krishna consciousness. Then comes, and it's from the beginning, anatta nivriti, the need to remove the unwanted material desires. There is a verse I wanted us to read from the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th chapter, 2nd verse, where we can hear what Prahlad Maharaj prays to Lord Narasimhadeva and says. What's his mood? Shri Prahlad Uvacha Mamam Pralobhya Yotpatya Sasta Kameshu Taivarai Tatsangabito Nivino Mumukshus Tvam Upashritaha. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I am naturally attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. I'm very much afraid of material conditions, and I desire to be liberated from materialistic life. It is for this reason that I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. context of this verse is that Prahlad Maharaj is in the womb of his mother Kayadu. He is begotten by the demon Hiranyakashipu. There is war in heaven. The demigods and the demons are always fighting, so be careful. If you want to go to heaven, sometimes there's war. India and Pakistan is like baby war. So the demigods, they won that bout of wars, and so they were rummaging through the territories of the demons, and they came to the house of the chief demon Hiranyakashipu, who had left everything and gone to perform austerity. There they found his wife with child, and headed by Lord Indra, Indra decided that we have to grab this lady, because within her womb is the seed of the demon. It happened that Narada Muni, the transcendental preacher, transcendental spaceman, appeared. Said, Narad said to Indra, you cannot do this. How abominable. How can you grab a lady when the husband is not there? Indra said, because he's famous for many things. He said, no, it's not what you think. In her womb is the seed of the demon Hiranyakashipu. We will just hold her, and then when she gives birth, we will kill that child. A little better than these days, Prabhupada writes. Even Indra was waiting for the child to be born. Kali Yuga, in the womb, finished. So Narada said, you cannot do this. He got hold of Indra's ear by his words. But Indra, because he's pious, he acknowledged the saint. We leave her in your custody. So she went and stayed in the ashram of Narada Muni. Narada Muni was giving Krishna Katha to her. Within the womb, Prahlad heard these instructions. When he appeared, unlike normal children, he was always meditative, always thinking about what he heard from his guru. When he went to preschool, 5-year-old boy, when the teachers left the room for recess, he gathered his friends. Come here, you sons of demons. Let me tell you that now that we have received this human form of life, which is very rare, we should use it to develop our Krishna consciousness. He said, don't use your life trying to work hard to improve your material condition. At your very birth, your suffering and your happiness is already packaged. You cannot improve that situation. As Prahlad Maharaj was preaching to these boys, they were shocked. But Prahlad, you are like our age. How did you get all this knowledge? Where did you go to school for this? And Prahlad said, no, I was in a different type of school. Yes, in the womb of my mother, I received this instruction. Sanda and Amaka, the teachers, they realized these boys, instead of becoming like mini demons, they are becoming like Vaishnavas. So their goal was to make them demoniac, but the result was they becoming divine. So they panicked. They tried to find out what was the cause of this, and they found out that Prahlad was giving them instruction. Word got back to Hiranyakashipu. Like any parent, you know, you pay school fees. Sometimes school fees is very expensive. Jai Ho. Yes, I heard of a parent, some school, they're paying like 60 grand a month. Yes, if your mind is blown, then I'm not the only one. And I was thinking, are they still learning A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3? Or are they learning rocket science, primary school? So the father was upset. This is not why I enrolled my son. Are you teaching him this nonsense? No, we have not taught him this. somehow or the other, it seems that he has heard from someone. It is just coming out of him, and his influence is great. Because he's already a pure devotee. The pure devotee, by nature, carries Govinda in his heart. Govinda Vishram. He is the abode of Lord Govinda. And Lord Govinda, Krishna, is supremely influential. Many of us have come to Govinda with no plans to really follow Govinda. Maybe we came for Mahayagya or Mahaprasadam. Something we came for, and then somehow or the other still we are following this Govinda. Because by his very nature, Krishna means all attractive. He attracts. He's like a strong magnet. He is influencing these boys. Hiranyakashipu, he said, go back, train him again. They tried to teach him. He came again after some time, found out, my son, what have you learned? What's the best you've learned? And the boy simply preached that hearing and chanting and remembering about Lord Vishnu, worshipping him, becoming a friend, offering prayers and giving your whole self, this is the best that I've learned. Oh, Hiranyakashipu was like beyond angry. Said his lip was quivering, his eyes turned copper red. He had welcomed the boy on his lap, and he had smelt his head, and it said he even shed a tear. When last did you shed a tear? Holding your child. He has more love of child than some of us. This is Hiranyakashipu. The apple of his eye. Now he wanted to know, has the education worked? The boy is speaking the language of his enemy. So he threw him off his lap. And he decided that this boy is like a thorn in my foot. He's like the handle that's put on an axe to cut down the tree of our dynasty. He has to be killed. Even Sandai Namaka was shocked. You don't often hear parents putting out a fatwa on their kids. He wanted him dead. And we are supposed to follow Prahlad Maharaj. He's Supreme Bhakta, Bhakta Shrestha. Prahlad Maharaj had no fear of his father. His fear, as he mentions here, is material life, materialistic conditions. That he has taken a birth in such a home, and this is the order of the day in Kali Yuga. Therefore, we are required to look carefully at the attitude of Prahlad and not make it just the story of Prahlad, because this is the story of our lives. We have not taken any serious birth in Kali Yuga. It is said, Jayate Janmana Shudra. In this Kali Yuga, everyone's born Shudra, even worse than Shudra. We are famous in India to be Mlechas and Yavanas. Anyone a taker for being an Mlecha? Yes, when you go see a Sangoma Maktua Siyavuma. At this point, we agree. So we are bringing up this point is that if we don't own our qualification as materialistic persons, as having taken birth in conditions that are subpar for pure devotional service, then we will not think that we should actually follow the example of Prahlad in becoming fearful of material life. See, the power of Maya is that she has two potencies, avaratmika and prachapatmika. First, she covers our knowledge. And when the knowledge is covered, what do we say? I know, Prabhu. I know. You know, when you try to tell somebody something, I know. Everybody knows until they are given the flowers to offer to Srila Prabhupada, and they don't know exactly what to do with them. So we need to train our devotees. The numbers are more, and everyone has tilak and dhoti and kurta, but they have no understanding of how to act in the line of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And without that training, then we may create offense or disturbance. Prahlad Maharaj, having preached to his father, he sentenced himself to death. In Kali Yuga, we are not generally sentenced to death like this for being materialistic. We are mainly glorified. Yeah, I see now that you've moved to whatever location. Oh, I see now you've got a better car. You recovered from the divorce. Now you've got a new wife. Everyone is glorifying us when we are moving and improving materialistically. Lucky for us, Krishna consciousness is not a negation of being in touch with material resources, but it's the negation of the mentality that I will enjoy this, I am the controller of this, it is mine. One has to understand it belongs to Krishna. It must be engaged in Krishna's service. So Prahlad Maharaj told his father, your strength comes from the very same place that my strength comes from. Prahlad was not afraid, Hiranyakashipu became afraid. Everyone is afraid of me. It's mentioned even devotees like Narada Muni and the demigods, they became yes men to Hiranyakashipu. He was that potent. By movement of his eyebrows, everyone, what do you want, what do you want? They actually even had a prema dwaning for Hiranyakashipu. Yes, he thought himself Bhagavan. And so they had to sing his glories. So we see that when Prahlad declared that the Lord was present everywhere, Hiranyakashipu was not inspired. For the devotee, Yomam Pashyati Savatra Savam Chamai Pashyati. We see everything is in Krishna and Krishna is in everything. And we, Ishtadevi Sputi, we see our worshipable Lord everywhere. Adantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. We see that in every atom the Lord is there. We feel secure. No fear. The Lord is everywhere. Hiranyakashipu was threatened. First thing was, he's in my house. You mean he's in my house? Yes, he's everywhere. In this pillar, yes. So he thought he would, just to prove the boy wrong, he'll break the pillar to show there's no God. This pastime is so powerful that although we didn't want to get into it so much, we have to get into it today. The Lord appeared from that pillar. He appeared as half man, half lion. This was to fulfill the benedictions of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma had given benedictions to Hiranyakashipu. He would not be killed inside, outside, on the land, in water, in the air, killed during the day, during the night, by any man-made weapon, by no animal or human being. And so the Lord appeared, half man, half lion, neither human nor animal. The Lord appeared and killed him by the doorway, neither inside or outside. Didn't kill him during the day or at night, killed him around this time, dusk. Didn't use any man-made weapon, he used his transcendental nails. Didn't kill him on land or in the air or in water, he put him on his transcendental lap. And so, although Hiranyakashipu had asked for immortality from Brahma, Brahma said, I cannot give what I don't have. So Hiranyakashipu, he started using his intelligence. Brahma. You've got 4 heads, but I'll show you what 1 head can do if it's properly used. Therefore, he asked not to be killed by any human, day or night, man-made weapon, inside, outside, land or air. When Brahma said tatastu, he thought, just see. I knew he wasn't that smart. I've gotten what I want in a roundabout way. You know, like sometimes as devotees, we we ask, have you taken prasadam? Not necessarily that, it's the question is not that have you really taken prasadam, but is there prasadam for me? You have to read between the lines. Transcendentally so. So, when he appeared, Hiranyakashipu was so afraid because he had this loud sound and immediately tried to pull out his sword to fight. But, who can outbox God? So in this way, he was snapped. His entrails were out. And his young boy had to witness that. I tell how when my mother visited ISKCON Pretoria, on her way out, there was a picture of Lord Narasimhadeva. And she casually said, "Oh, you people have a picture of the devil." I said, yes. Because when you see someone's intestines out, blood everywhere, this angry lion face, killing, it's very difficult to spring back from, this is actually God. At another time I had to explain. So, Hiranyakashipu proves all of us wrong. That we can never outsmart the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that no matter how much we build ourselves up materially, ultimately, as Srila Prabhupada said, those who don't accept God in life, the demoniac, the atheists, there is no God. They will meet God in the form of death. There we see, oh, somebody's actually in charge here. So the devotee takes the example of Prahlad Maharaj. But the acharyas are saying we are worshipping Lord Narasimhadeva so that he can help us to purify our hearts so we can approach Radha and Krishna. This is our aim, to approach Radha and Krishna. And therefore, because Prahlad Maharaj is the emblem of pure devotional service, Anya Bilasita Shunyam, Jnana Kamanada Vritam, Anukalyena Krishnanu Shiranam Bhakti Uttama. His devotion is free from the desire for the fruits. Hey, I chanted my rounds, Krishna, be nice to me. I gave a donation, give more. I heard if you give so much, I get so much more. This is fruitive mentality. And Gyan is speculation. God might be this, might be that. It ends up at impersonalism. Prahlad Maharaj is simply for pleasing the Supreme Lord. Therefore, in this chapter, he's telling the Lord, don't tempt me, because the Lord wanted to give him benedictions. After he had killed his father, the Lord was so angry after killing Hiranyakashipu that he could not be pacified. Brahma couldn't approach. Even the wife, Lakshmi, couldn't approach the Lord. I know him, but I don't know this. You probably have seen some Narasimhadev side of your hubby at some point. Huh? When you know, no, now I should just... So the Lord was so angry, nobody could pacify, and the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, they called Prahlad. Said, Prahlad, look, the Lord has appeared here because of your father. So you should pacify him. Srila Prabhupada says, it's like taking a small boy and pushing him into a cage with an angry lion. They were so shameless. Because it said also the demigods are mixed bhaktas. They also have material desires. And when there's material desires, there's fear in the heart. Something to lose. This gain and safety creates fear in us. Prahlad, being pure devotee, no fear, simply affection for the Lord. And there our acharyas clarify what is this anger of Lord Narasimhadeva. I also get angry. Prabhu, you get angry? Yeah, I lose my cool. They say anger is one letter away from danger. Yes, they say anger is like a matchstick. Why? It has a hot head. One little strike. So we get angry and we may think, why worship this Supreme Lord, the Supreme Anger? It's also sometimes, like Kalki Avatar is known as Supreme Chastiser. Lord Narasimhadeva is supreme in anger. What type of anger is this? One anger is that when somebody does something to us, we feel the right to be angry. We see that type of anger also in Krishna. Krishna is fighting different demigods. Transcendental, of course, anger, but because they are shooting arrows at his body, he's reacting and he's also attacking back. But it said of Lord Narasimhadeva that he was not angry because of an attack on him, but he was angry because Hiranyakashipu offended his devotee. He was angry in the same way that we are justified to be angry when we see Vaishnava Parad. When there's offense to the Lord and the devotee can exhibit anger. So the Lord, in protecting his devotee, he was so angry he could not be pacified. But Prahlad, with no fear, and we want this fear, why we don't want this fear, and how we become fearless if we remove the material desires in the heart. Because Prahlad had no fear, only love for the Lord simply put him on his lap, put his hand on his head, and Prahlad began to offer prayers. By the touch of the Supreme Lord on his head, he got divine revelation that he could offer transcendental prayers. And by these prayers, it was like a shower of nectar. The Lord is supremely angry. And anger is hot, so his eyes are burning red. Who is going to pacify the Lord? His devotee. How? By singing beautiful prayers, singing the Lord's glories. So when we sing the glories of the Lord, we sing the holy name of the Lord, it is as though we are offering some cooling substance, especially on this day. The purer the heart, the more effective the prayer. When the Lord was hearing these prayers, then his anger was subsiding. When his anger subsided, Lord Narasimhadeva, like a father, he wanted to offer benedictions to Prahlad. And that's why Prahlad now is responding, my Lord, don't tempt me with these material desires. The Lord wanted to give him his own planet. We come to the Lord, we want so many things. If the Lord appears and says, Karuna Sindhu Avatar, what do you want, my boy? You think also yourself. And don't try to be a devotee now, oh no, my Lord. Exactly what you want. You can see that it may not be pure devotional service. It may be something along the lines of, once I have this, then I will. So the Lord, it is described that also in that moment he developed some greed. He saw how Prahlad Maharaj, by offering prayers to him, by sitting on his lap, was enjoying amazing sweet nectar in the hearts, happiness that the Lord hankered for. He thought, I have been born from a pillar. I have not tasted the pleasure of sitting on the lap of my Father. I want to understand the joy of sitting on my own parents' lap. So the Lord made a sankalpa that from this incarnation, going forward, I will always accept parents. Therefore, we see after Lord Narasimhadeva, the Lord is accepting parents. We see that the greed of Lord Vishnu is mentioned, that he wanted to fight. We warned against material desires. We mentioned greed as a highway robber. So someone may ask, now, how are we talking about greed in the Supreme Lord? So this type of lobha, this type of greed, is there originally in the Lord, but in its pure form. When the Lord wants to fight, then he engages his devotees. We see Jan Vijay. Somehow or the other, the arrangement was there. They were cursed. Then they came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So this Hiranyakashipu deserves also a Jai. Jai Hiranyakashipu. Jai. Be generous. Hiranyakashipu ki. Jai. He is a devotee. No useless man can come and play and interact with the Supreme Lord in such an intimate way. No one can be allowed to fight the Lord if he's simply materialistic and mundane. So without Hiranyakashipu, then there's no one to hate, you know. There's no, like, this whole Leela is a bit dead. There must be a villain. And so Hiranyakashipu took that role. Because it was the greed of the Lord to fight, so he brought his own Vaikuntha Vasis, Jain Vijay, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, to give him a good fight. It wasn't enough in that one. He came again, Ravana, Kumbhakana. They made another show as Shishupal and Dantavakra. So the Lord also has a desire to fulfill. He wants to interact with his devotees. But we mentioned that ultimately we're not trying to go to Vaikuntha, we want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. So our Gaudiya Vaishnavism takes us also to understand the greed of Krishna. That Krishna in the spiritual sky sees that Srimati Radharani is so enchanted by his personal beauty. He sees that Srimati Radharani has a love that he cannot understand. By his own estimation, he says 10 million times the joy that Radharani is experiencing by loving him, by serving him. So Krishna wants to know, what is it about me that's so attractive? What is the pleasure that the love of Srimati Radharani brings to her? And that greed of Krishna leads him to steal. Another perplexing accusation, God who steals. I mean, the devotees, this is no surprise. We know him. There's songs about this. He's a chore. He's famous in Vrindavan, stealing bata, stealing clothes, stealing always. But Krishna ultimately wants to steal the hearts of the devotees. And in Radharani, he plundered the essence of her heart, her love for himself. And he came as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It is this Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this combination of Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna, Eka Atma, Duvidera. It said, Radha and Krishna are one soul, Eka Atma. But they've come in two bodies. For Anyonya Vilasa Rasa Asudan, to enjoy the nectar of loving relationships. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they reveal to us this platform of pure devotional service. And it is in this mood that on Nishinga Chaturdasi, we are not only praying for our physical protection, the protection of our assets, our beloved, protection of our nations, but we are praying that the Lord may tear apart all those anathas in our hearts, all that mentality that holds us from giving ourselves fully to the worship of Radha and Krishna. giving up the show of materialistic life, being real, being who we are. Gopi Batu Parakamalayo, Dasa Dasa Anidasa. That is our position, dear devotees. If you see these transcendental worlds, we are meant to sit around Krishna and share lunch with him. We are meant to have no awe and reverence towards the Supreme Lord, that we trick him, we lie to him. Krishna, open your mouth, I'll put a sweet in your mouth. And God believes our lies because he loves us. We are meant to sit at home, pining after Krishna, thinking that the forest is such a tough place. His soft lotus feet are being harmed by all those sharp stones and thorns. This is the position of the gopis of Vrindavan and the gopas of Vrindavan, completely absorbed in love of Krishna. This mood of the gopis allows us to experience sweetness which is unparalleled. We simply fold our hands to that love of the gopis. That the gopis, they criticize Lord Brahma. What type of a creator is this? How you create these eyes which are meant to see Krishna and you put eyelids on them? That we have to blink and not see Krishna. What is the blinking? One moment. They feel yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagatsavam govinda vyarena me. They feel this viraha, this great separation, as if that same Lord, by that one blinking, a whole millennium is gone. They are cultured ladies, they cannot criticize Brahma, but out of prema, out of love, they criticize, what type of creator is this? These cowherd boys, when they walk in the forest, sometimes Krishna walks past a tree, and for a moment they cannot see Krishna. Priyad Bhavatamrita says, they feel like there's no reason to live. They want to give up their lives. And what type of love is this? We don't have any experience of this. But this is available. And it is this sweetness, this ras, which is the call of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. That this is our birthright. And this is what Lord Narasimhadeva is paving the way towards. He wants to remove all those obstacles because Ganeshji also removes obstacles. He's removing them because he's meditating on Lord Narasimhadeva. He gets his power. So Prabhupada, who speaks throughout the different purports that we should not kamas tais rita jnana, we should not be poor, fond of knowledge and worship the demigods, but we should worship the Supreme Lord. But there, Prabhupada says we should worship Ganeshji. Why? To remove the obstacles on the path of pure devotional service. So in the same way, Lord Narasimhadeva, although he protects his devotee, as he did Prahlad, he protected his body from Hiranyakashipu, but ultimately the Lord wants to remove all the obstacles for our entrance into Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore, that same Lord Nanavataram has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he has brought the medicine to get us home. That holy name of Krishna is this Golokera Prema Dana, Harinam Sankirtan. The treasure of divine love in Goloka has descended in the form of the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, has descended as the form of this holy name. That is why even when we were doing all the swahas, by the side there, Sankirtan Yaga was going on, chanting of the holy name. Although sometimes we may feel it, or it's disturbing the mantras. In Kali Yuga, who is really qualified to chant these mantras? We need so many things just to help us get through the ceremonies. But it is there, it is part of our pancharatric system that we have to offer certain worship. But in Kali Yuga, no yagya is complete without the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Therefore, the real Mahayagya in the age of Kali is this chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As we reach these parts of the lecture, you can understand we are almost there. We try to end on a sweet. Nothing is sweeter than this Madhurya Nam. Only because of our jaundiced tongue. When someone has jaundice, that which is sweet tastes very bitter. So if we are not experiencing this Madhurya Nam, then it is on us to take more of the Madhurya Nam, because just as you cure jaundice by taking more sweet, although it is bitter in the beginning, very quickly the tongue regains its ability to taste. And it is this holy name which appears in different forms. That holy name has appeared today as Lord Narasimhadeva. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He is the deliverer of the fallen. And we pray on this day that may He please empower us with a particle of faith in Harinam, and that we may congregationally, holding each other's hearts, come before Him sincerely to offer ourselves in His devotional service. May we get the strength to follow Gurudev's message. May we serve our founder Acharya such that he may be proud of us. And may we create such safe spaces that in every town and village there will be a Namahata. This we can do if we get the mercy of Lord Narasimhadev. Shri Narasimhadev Bhagavan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.
His Holiness Sarvajña Gauranga Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Maharaj, thank you for that refreshing talk that you've given us about Prahlad and Narasimhadev. And I think it's going to make us rethink and readjust our lives going forward. As much as we've heard this pastime on so many occasions, but every time we hear it, we need to make some change in our lives. So thank you for that, for allowing us this opportunity to listen to you and to be in your association as well. Thank you once again for coming here and being present on this very auspicious day. And now going forward, we are going to perform